You're on.
From Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. TicketBash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. Sports Bash is also presented by Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service, keeping Long Island warm for over 18 years, serving their customers in Nassau and Suffolk with pride, honesty, and integrity. For more information, visit www.liboilers.com. Sports Bash also brought to you by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sports Bash and get that delicious free dessert with your meal. By Living Legends, memorabilia and collectibles in Rockville Center, Long Island's go-to store for sports, entertainment, and political memorabilia since 1996. They're also available for charity auctions. Give Warren a call at 516-826-4000. By Bearcat Billing Service, your trusted partner in medical billing. Experience the Bearcat way, personal, professional, and tailored to your needs. Give Gary a call at 516-796-2400. Tell him Sports Bash sent you. By the Marty Lyons Foundation, the official charity of Sports Bash Media. For more information, go to martylyonsfoundation.org. And by Collaborate Studios, a content marketing production facility. For more info, call them at 516-509-8277. Well, hi again, everyone. I'm Peter Schwartz. Welcome to Sports Bash. I don't know why I wrote TicketBash.com in the script, but welcome to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. 516-465-3990 is the number to call. Make sure you are subscribing to Govs Comedy Club podcast on YouTube. That allow you to follow along with the show, comment as we move along in the program. A little bit later on, I'll be joined by the new radio voice of the New York Yankees. Let me backtrack a little bit. The new radio voice of the defending American League champion New York Yankees, Dave Sims. He'll join us a little bit later on in the show. We're also going to be joined by Oxia Time founder John Canaris. Oxia Time has unveiled its first batch of 2024 college football playoff watch designs. John's a Long Island native, also played lacrosse at Baldwin High School. We'll talk to him about that as well. That is coming up in the show. Also, our poll question of the day, so you want to stay tuned for that. This segment is presented by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, where every customer is considered family. The Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Mention Sports Bash, get a free dessert with your meal. I think we are overdue for another delivery from the Embassy Diner. We're going to have to give Gus a call and see maybe on Thursday we can get a delivery. I know Tony just got excited when I mentioned that as he digs into what appears to be a brownie over there, right? Yeah, it looks like a brownie. No? I always do this. I catch it with his mouth full. He just did his own show. Now he's got the host of the next show bothering him while he's eating.
It is chocolate, actually. I'll give you a piece.
No, I don't.
No, it's delicious. It is. You made me eat the soda. You're taking a piece of this chocolate.
All right, you twisted my arm. We'll do it a little bit later on.
Yes.
And again, this segment presented by the Embassy Diner, so we thank them for that. So big show coming up with John Canaris from Oxia Time, and also Dave Sims, the new radio voice of the Yankees on WFAN. I was going to lead with something else. I was going to talk about a few other things going on in the world of sports. However, this is the beauty of sports talk radio and television and podcasts and all that stuff, is that you have this great immediacy of this business and things happen. That's why you have, places like WFAN, 24-hour sports radio stations. You have, Sirius XM, you have ESPN Radio, all these things can happen at any moment. So as I'm pulling out of my driveway, I had not checked Twitter in a few minutes as I was getting ready to leave my house to come over here for the show. As I am about to get out of my driveway, I get a text from a friend of mine. It's my good friend Ken. And he said, "Why would you fire Joe Douglas now?" And I'm like, "What?" Like, literally, I put my phone down for 2 seconds because my wife always jokes at me, like my phone is attached to my hip. And it's true, because I'm constantly on my phone. I literally put it down for 5 minutes to get ready to leave the house, and I missed the news. The Jets had fired, or reports say, the Jets have fired Joe Douglas. And of course, right after I see the text from my friend, I go to Twitter and make sure that this is not a joke or something, but it apparently has happened. And the Jets have fired Joe Douglas. And this is, before I get into the minutia of Joe Douglas being fired and just the latest chapter of this ridiculous season of New York Jets football, I go back to a tweet I sent out last week. And sometimes I feel like I'm a broken record, but I think it bears repeating. This will not be the season where the Jets have their worst record, because their worst record was, 1-15, 1995 under Rich Kotite. And remember, they also had a 3-13 season mixed in there, somehow. So while the Jets now are 3-8 on the season, this will not be the worst record in terms of Jets history. But I maintain that this has been the worst season of Jets football in franchise history. And I would love to talk to Jet fans about this and the Joe Douglas firing at 516-465-3990, 516-465-3990. I mean, just everything that has happened this year with this team. And you get excited again. Aaron Rodgers is back. Comes to training camp. All the excitement of him throwing to Garrett Wilson. All the stuff. We talked about this ad nauseum here on the show and on the old show. And you've heard me talk about it on other platforms as well. Just so much excitement again. After last year and Aaron Rodgers getting hurt, he comes back. Everyone's all pumped up again. And what an utter disaster this season has been. I've gotten used to this team losing over the years. I can handle my teams losing because God knows, teams that I root for have lost a lot. The Jets obviously have lost a lot. The Islanders, as much as I, idolize and just relish the Stanley Cup dynasty, and the Islanders have had their share of stinkers, right, over the years. I mean, the Yankees before, after the 77-78, that era, and before the 96 era started, the dynasty, the Yankees had some pretty crappy seasons too, and the Knicks were horrible for a long time. So I'm used to losing. I'm used to my teams losing. And I can handle it because, look, it's not your God-given right to root for a team that wins. Ask teams that have never won championships before. Ask their fans what it's like to root for teams like that. But there's that level of suckness, and there's the level of suckness that is the New York Jets. And you can't make this crap up. You just can't. Everything that has happened this year, from just losing the season opener, Hassan Reddick not showing up, the defense, which everyone wanted to put this Jet defense, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm guilty of it. So I'm not being a hypocrite here. But we wanted to put this Jet defense in the Hall of Fame like the 85 Bears and the 86 Giants and the Ravens. We wanted to put them in the Hall of Fame just like those defenses, and they have played like a bunch of dogs this year. So I'm on record talking about how when you're a bad franchise, it starts at the top. It does with Woody Johnson and Christopher Johnson. But man, have these players played like dogs this year. And you fire Robert Saleh in the middle of the season, and now today we find out that Joe Douglas, the general manager, is gone. Now, again, when Robert Saleh was fired, my feeling was it really the right thing to do at this point in the season? There's never been a team in the NFL that has made the playoffs with an interim head coach. And if you were going to fire him, you should have fired him in the offseason. Now with Joe Douglas, if you've deemed that this is not the direction you want to go in, maybe Joe Douglas should have been fired before the season started. And let's be fair about it. Joe Douglas, great guy, and has made some great trades. And in the same draft, he got Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, and Breece Hall. That draft saved his job because the glaring thing on his resume right now is drafting Zach Wilson second overall. And listen, that was a COVID year. They didn't have a lot to go on, and they drafted him off of a few games in college and that great workout that he had on his pro day. So if Joe Douglas didn't draft Zach Wilson, there was somebody else waiting in the wings to do so. I kind of feel the same way about Zach Wilson as I do about Blair Thomas, back when the Jets drafted him in the early 90s. If the Jets didn't take him, somebody else was going to. So another team would have been set back. But it's on Joe Douglas's resume, and he earned being fired today. Maybe he should have been fired earlier in the season. Maybe the Jets could have waited until after the season. But in any event, Joe Douglas did not do a good job. Overall, his entire body of work was not good enough to continue being the general manager of the New York Jets. And the biggest reason why was the drafting of Zach Wilson. Because when you have the second overall pick in the draft, and you draft the franchise quarterback, let me backtrack. You draft the person you think is going to be your franchise quarterback, and it doesn't work out, that's on your record. It's on your record, and that sets your franchise back 5 years. It set your franchise back to the point where now you had to go out to California 2 years ago and wine and dine Aaron Rodgers and convince him to come because you had this team that was put together that had a chance to be a winning franchise, and all they needed was a quarterback because you screwed up and picked Zach Wilson second overall. So this Aaron Rodgers saga came about only because you didn't have a quarterback. So for that reason, he's out of a job. I mean, there's others. Look, he missed on some draft picks too, other draft picks, and things didn't work out. He never really put together a great offensive line. And let's be honest, again, he deserves to be fired. He didn't do a good job. But my point being is that this comes in the midst of a season that if you brought the script to a Hollywood producer and said, we are going to make a movie about this really horrid franchise, and we're going to acquire a future Hall of Fame quarterback to go along with this outstanding defense, great skill position players, playing the biggest market in the country, in the world, and we're going to tell you that we're going to have this script where all of these things happen to this team over a 2-year period. You're going to have a Hollywood producer saying, who's going to watch this? That's not a believable thing. That could never happen. Well, yeah, it does happen. It's the New York Jets. It happens. I mean, this is worse than any bad year that I've experienced with this team in my lifetime. At least when they were, 1-15, 3-13, there were some players. There was some vague reason to watch the games back then. Like, I've lost interest this year. Sunday morning, I was at an event, and I was done with it at about 12:30, and I live about a half an hour from where the event was. And before the last 2 years, Peter Schwartz would have been like, oh, man, I got to get home. Jet kickoff's at 1 o'clock. I took my time. I got home. My wife's on the couch watching the game. I missed the first couple of plays of the game. I sat down. I was fine. I watched the game. I'm stoic. I don't move when they give up a touchdown. I don't react when they get a touchdown. But that's what they've done. They basically killed Jets Peter. The New York Jets have killed Jets Peter. That's where it's come to. Because all the years I've had of, I still love the franchise. I mean, I'm still a Jets fan. But the care factor in here has subsided to the point where I just I sit on the couch, I'll watch the game. I can't lose my mind over it anymore. And I don't think any Jet fan should lose their mind over it. And if you're a season ticket holder for the Jets, you could be angry, be upset, but there's only really one way that you can express your anger, and that's not renewing. And I can't tell anybody what to do with their money. I've had a really good friend of mine that had Jet season tickets for years, and he would call me up every day, every week after a loss and say, his team sucks. And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, don't go anymore. Don't complain to me about it. You're not writing the check to me to go to the games. And he finally did give up his season tickets. And I think a lot of people. And that's where this franchise now is at a crossroads. Because if they lost people like me, and I can't lose sleep over this anymore. If they've lost people like me, and I see a lot of Jet fans on social media that are, that's it, I'm not going anymore, I'm giving up my tickets, then perhaps this is the crossroads that this franchise needed to get to. That Woody Johnson now has two choices before we all wildly assume he's going back to the UK to be the ambassador again under Trump. But Woody's now got two choices here how to make the fans happy and re-energize the fan base. The first choice is selling the team. And I don't think the Johnsons are going to sell the team. That's choice number one. Choice number two is Woody now decides, along with his brother Chris, we are going to change the way that we do business with the New York Jets. We are no longer going to have a shotgun wedding where we hire the general manager and we hire the coach concurrently. Where you sit them down in a 5-star restaurant and you say, can you two guys, I like both of you guys, can you two guys work together? That does not work. What Woody Johnson needs to do now is go out and hire a president of football operations / general manager, or perhaps it's the president of football operations, and you let that guy hire the general manager, and then you let the general manager and the football czar hire the head coach, and so on and so forth down the road. That's how you build a successful football team. It took the New York Football Giants and all of that lousy football that they had through the 70s for fans to be burning tickets at Giants Stadium. The Joe Pisarcik fumble, Herman Edwards runs it back, fans burn tickets, Wellington Mara doesn't know what to do, the NFL gets involved, and George Young comes and saves the New York Giants. Perhaps this just god-awful season and 2 years of just everything that could possibly go wrong has gone wrong. That maybe it wakes up Woody Johnson and says, maybe I've been at this the wrong way. Maybe my point of view on how to run a team doesn't work. And maybe that changes things. I don't know. But I can tell you right now, I'll watch the games, but my level of care is in the toilet. I have too much fun watching my older son Bradley play college football, and I had too much fun this season watching my younger son Jared coach flag football for me to lose sleep over this anymore. But listen, we can still talk about it. 516-465-3990. You're an angry Jet fan. I want to hear from you. You can also tweet at me at Schwartz Sports on Twitter. Before we go to a break, just I should have pulled this up before the show, and I don't know if Tony has seen any comments, but let me just, as I sit here and I look, Let's see if anybody has chatted. I have no chats so far.
Not that I saw.
No chats. I'll just leave that open right there. But if you go to the Governor's Comedy Club podcast page on YouTube, if you don't, I've noticed this too when you're doing shows at WFAN, that sometimes you can get a little, people a little bashful. They don't want to talk on the radio or talk on a TV show. So you can comment on the podcast page. So you can do that. Or you can
YouTube or Facebook.
YouTube or Facebook. Okay, see, I learned something new today. Every time I come in here, I learn something new from Tony Walker. Well, 516-465-3990. Later in the show, Dave Sims, the new radio voice of the Yankees, will join me. But when we come back here on the show, we're going to talk to Oxia Time founder John Canaris about the new line of college football playoff watches, and they are beautiful. They are unbelievable. Wait till you see some of the images we're going to show you. Talk to John about it. And also, he's a Long Island native, and he played lacrosse at Baldwin High School, and we'll talk to him about the sport of lacrosse as well and what it meant to him in his life. And that's when we come back right after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,500 families, raising over $43 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $6,700 each, and your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 76 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. I'm Peter Schwartz. Thanks for joining us here on the Governor's Comedy Club podcast YouTube channel. Before I get to my first guest on the show, before I got too far ahead of myself, I did want to send out best wishes to a couple of people from the sports world. First, and you may have heard this, Islanders veteran defenseman Mike Riley, who's been out with a concussion, went for a checkup, got checked out, and he got cleared from the concussion, but as they found out, he got diagnosed with a heart problem. And it's just unfortunate that you go for a checkup for a concussion, and now you find out that you've got this heart problem. So he's going to undergo a heart procedure. So on behalf of everybody here at Sports Bash and Governors, and all of Islanders country. Best wishes to Mike Riley on a recovery. He'll be out for a while as he recovers from the procedure, and we wish him the best, and hopefully he can make it back before the end of the season as the Islanders push for a playoff spot. And the second person, it hurts the community if it didn't have a direct connection to my family, but because it does, it hurts even more. So my older son Bradley graduated from MacArthur High School. My younger son Jared goes to MacArthur High School right now here on Long Island. Bradley played football briefly with this young man last year. My younger son Jared played against him in Little League a few years ago. So Connor Schmidt is a sophomore at MacArthur High School, and in the season-ending playoff game, Connor suffered a left fibula and ankle injury, pretty serious, and he's got a long road to recovery, but he is an outstanding young man. We love his family. They have been so supportive of my family as well, our family, supporting, always commenting on Bradley's football highlights on social media. So on behalf, again, of my family and everybody here at Sports Bash, we want to wish this young man, Connor Schmidt, that you see on your screen right now, a very, very speedy recovery from his injury, and we certainly hope that we see you on the baseball field for the Generals coming up this spring. So, Connor, good luck with everything in your rehab, and please get well soon. This segment of Sports Bash is presented by Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service, keeping Long Island warm for over 18 years, serving their customers in Nassau and Suffolk with pride, honesty, and integrity. For more information, visit www.liboilers.com. I don't wear a lot of jewelry. I have my wedding ring. Sometimes I have a chain around my neck. And obviously, most times, I'm wearing a watch. I mean, what guy does not like to wear a watch? I mean, it's a great, nice thing that you can wear on your wrist. Now, there are watches, and there are really, really good watches. And on the line with us right now is the founder of a company that makes just some outstanding timepieces. He is the founder of Oxia Time. He is John Canaris, and he joins us here on the show. John, it's Peter. How are you?
Great, Peter. Nice to hear your voice. It's a great opportunity to connect with you here.
Absolutely, and thank you for spending some time out of your day. Oxia is the official watch of the college football playoff. This year, the field expands to 12 teams, and you will be producing watches for the 12 teams that are going to go to the college football playoff, and you've already unveiled some of the what some of the watches may look like if those teams do get into the playoffs. Just can you talk about what it means for you and your company to be involved with the college football playoff, and tell us about these timepieces that we're seeing on our screen right now?
Yeah, no, it's a dream come true for me. So Oxia Time was a passion project / side hustle for me until February of this year, and I've only been doing it full time for about 10 months. And but we've been licensed with college football playoff for the past few years. So we've made national championship watches for Georgia in 2021 and 2022, and then Michigan in 23. And in fact, my website kind of blew up in January when Michigan won. We sold more watches in January than we did all of last year combined. And so I decided to leave my day job and do this full time. And in so doing, we talked to CFP about expanding and evolving our relationship with them from just being a licensee to being a full-fledged sponsor in the official timepiece. And so those discussions started, in the spring, and we officially announced that in September. And so we're making fan watches for all the teams that make the 12-team playoff this year. We unveiled watches for the top 25 teams aligned with the first committee ranking of the top 25. And so those top 25 team designs are all on our website. We've made 2 designs per team, and they're limited to 100 watches per design. So only 200 watches per team that makes the playoff. So they're limited edition, really ultra custom to honor both the school and their colors and their logo, but in addition, their participation in the college football playoff. So the watches are really ultra customized and really limited edition.
Yeah, they're outstanding. I've seen the pictures of all of them. They look outstanding. And I know that your inspiration, we'll talk about your lacrosse career a little bit later on, but I know that making the watches was inspired by your time at University of Pennsylvania playing lacrosse. You guys had won a championship and you were looking for a timepiece, and I guess from what the video that I saw of you, it didn't feel right, and you wanted to make sure that there was a good timepiece, a good watch for people to get. Tell us about how you were inspired to get into the watch business, and how you came up with Oxia.
Yeah, sure. So I know you've got a deep heritage in lacrosse yourself. So
yes.
So what I'm about to talk about will be very familiar to you and maybe some of your listeners. So I played lacrosse at the University of Pennsylvania. My senior year, we won the Ivy League championship and we went to the Final Four. That Final Four game happened to be the game where Gary Gait scored the famous air gate goal, where he jumped from behind the net and stuffed the ball in. Well, I was the goalie that he stuffed the ball in on.
Oh.
So people, I have a friend who likes to joke. He's like, man, you're the most famous guy in lacrosse that nobody knows.
And we have a picture of you and Gary Gait that we're going to show to the people who are watching. So obviously you maintained a good relationship despite the fact that he scored that goal on you.
Indeed. No, Gary's a great guy, and as is his brother Paul, incredible players who transformed the game. But despite losing in that Final Four game by a goal with 3 seconds left, it was still an incredible time in my life playing lacrosse with my brothers, and that was a special season for us, and we wanted to commemorate it in a unique way. So the university gave us this watch that really the styling and quality wasn't so great. I've got this tortured relationship with this watch. On the one hand, I love it for what it signifies, but I hate it for how poor the quality and styling is. Yeah. And actually, people can see it on my website. On the bottom of the homepage is a picture of that actual watch from 1988. And so literally for decades, I became a watch guy. I got into watches, mechanical watches, Swiss made, really nice stuff. And I looked for decades for a nice watch with the Penn logo to commemorate that season. So after 30 years of looking, I turned 50 and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it myself. I can't find what I'm looking for, so let me do it myself. And so this became kind of my midlife crisis. And I started designing watches for special occasions. And I got a lucky break. So because of my lacrosse connections, I still play up in Lake Placid every year. Lars Tiffany, who's the head coach at UVA, is a personal friend and teammate up in Lake Placid. So when UVA won the national championship in 2019, Lars and I were texting. I was congratulating him. He knew what I was doing. And he's like, hey, would you design a watch for the team? I'm like, it was a light bulb moment. I'm like, that's brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. Let me do that. And so that's what set me on this journey to designing really upscale watches to commemorate life's big events like a championship.
It's awesome, and they look fantastic. Absolutely. John Canaris, the founder of Oxia Time, is my guest here on Sports Bash, and his company has come out with a line of watches to represent the college football playoff teams. The first batch of designs are out. We'll know which watches are being made when the 12-team field is announced for the college football playoff. In your mind, what goes into a good watch? Because obviously, like, the most important thing, that a watch, and this is easy to say in theory, but the most important thing that a watch has to do is tell time and not stop. But there's also the way it looks on your wrist and the way it feels. So from your perspective, what goes into having a really good watch?
Yeah, the core components that make up a watch and the quality of those components will let you know whether or not it's going to last a long time or not. And so we use ultra premium components, the same components that you'd find in a luxury Swiss made watch. So the case, the movement, the hands, the dial, everything that goes into the watch is premium quality. What makes our watches unique is the design. When you look at a commemorative watch or a co-branded watch for a team or a university, most of those brands want to own the main real estate, like at 12 o'clock where the logo goes. Mm-hmm. They want to own that, and then they somehow fit in the team's logo somewhere else on the dial. I turn that on its head. I give that 12 o'clock real estate to the team or the institution that we're honoring, mm-hmm. because if someone wants to buy, say a Penn State watch, they're buying the watch because Penn State means something to them. That logo is a part of their identity, something they want to celebrate. And so we make that primary in our design process. And then we embed our logo very subtly into the tail of the second hand, because we want to show the pride that we have in the design and keep our logo there, but very subtly at the very base of the second hand, you can see that kind of triangular figure. That's our logo. But yeah, what we do is really focus on what's important to the customer, which is their alma mater's logo, their color scheme, and you can see, across all the designs we have for CFP, the color combinations are super cool. So sometimes you
they
wonder,
pop out, John. They're unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm looking through the pictures the other day, and what the colors and just the way that the watch looks, it pops out on you.
Yeah, thanks. And some of the colors, I was worried, like, the Oregon, like electric green and yellow. I was like, how is this going to look in a watch? But it looks so cool. They just complement each other so nicely. And even the Ole Miss, powder blue, I was really pleasantly surprised with how they fit together in the design process.
So you got the LSU watch, and my younger son, Jared, coaches flag football. His team was LSU, so that popped
sweet.
out for us too. But my older son plays college football at Western Connecticut State. Now they're a Division III school, but maybe somewhere down the road, you guys can make a watch for the WestCon Wolves.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we'd like to make watches for all universities and all championship teams over time. I mean, we're still very early in our life cycle, but we're growing.
Here's an issue that I've always had with watches. I love wearing a watch. I mean, there's nothing that, that as far as like wearing jewelry, as I mentioned before, like I love to wear a really good watch. But here's the problem I've had, and to a certain extent, my wife Cheryl has had too. I'm going to show you my wrist. This is not a very easy wrist to get a watch for. So, I mean, my wife, God, she's fantastic, Cheryl. And when she's bought a watch for me, she always makes sure that she tries to find somebody else in the store that may have a similar wrist size to me. Try this on. Will it fit my husband? Can I get extra links if it's not going to? So you always have to worry, if you're a big guy like myself, about getting a watch that's going to fit, and not just fit, but be comfortable. So tell us about Oxia, and did they have a big and tall department?
So interestingly, the bracelets that we make as a part of all of our watches, they can fit a wrist that's 8.25 inches round in circumference. And I was worried. So Zach Edey, who played for Purdue and is now with the Memphis Grizzlies in the NBA, we make watches for the Naismith Award.
Okay.
And so Zach won the Naismith back to back in the last 2 years. And so we gifted him a watch for being a finalist. And I was really worried about sizing his wrist and making sure it fit. And surprisingly, right out of the box, he's got an 8.25 inch wrist and it fit. So it fits, even somebody 7'4".
Okay.
Is Zach Edey. But look, we can add links to our bracelet. So if your wrist is bigger than 8.25, which is a big wrist,
yeah,
we
it's
can
a big
accommodate
wrist
you for sure. Yeah, we can accommodate you for sure.
Tell me, John, who is your favorite college football team? Can you answer that question? Even though you produce the watches for all the teams that are going to be in the playoff, do you have a favorite?
I really just enjoy watching a good game. The ones that come down to the wire, competitors, just dueling it out on the field. So for me, I just want to see, a good outcome with an exciting game. The blowouts aren't so great.
No.
But no, I love the sport. And,
Nope.
Saturday, I spend in front of the TV all day, just assembling watches and watching college football.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I didn't really grow up a big college football fan, but now certainly when you have a son who plays college football, you start to pay a little bit more attention to it. I'll get back to the watches in just a second, but as I mentioned before, we talked about your heritage, playing lacrosse growing up here on Long Island at Baldwin High School. You mentioned University of Pennsylvania. Tell me about your love for the sport of lacrosse, and have you been happy with the progression of the sport, the way it's grown to where it is now with the Premier Lacrosse League and also indoors with the National Lacrosse League? How much do you still love the sport that you grew up playing?
It's such an integral part of my life. And, I'm thrilled that I played when I did, because I don't know that I played college lacrosse in this day and age. These kids are incredible. The speed, the athleticism is it's next level from when I played. But, so I grew up in Baldwin. I was a wrestler actually originally, and then saw somebody carrying a lacrosse stick and was curious, like, what is that? And I fell in love with the sport. But I became a goalie by happenstance. So we didn't have a goalie for our team in junior high. And back then, our coach, Howie Ratner, used to make us run 10 laps before practice, 10 laps after practice, the kind of old school kind of stuff and wind sprints. And I hated that kind of stuff. And so I made a deal with him. I'm like, look, you can teach me how to be a goalie while the other guys, run and I'll be your goalie. So he said yes. And so he taught me the fundamentals of being a goalie. But what changed it for me was Joe Gutterding. So I don't know if you know the name Justin Gutterding, who played at Duke. So Justin's dad, Joe Gutterding, was a Baldwin goalie, an alum. He went to Penn State, was an All-American at Penn State. And after he graduated from Penn State, he came back to Baldwin High School and he coached me. He turned me into a college goalie. And so for me, like as I got better and learned that actually I was good enough to play in college, I kind of put my wrestling shoes to the side and decided to lean into lacrosse.
Outstanding. And before we let you go, how can people find out more about Oxia Time, the college football playoff watches, and where can they order them?
Yeah, they can go to our website or follow us on social media at axiatime.com. So AXIA time.com, and on social media at Oxia Time LLC.
Awesome. John Canaris, the founder of Oxia Time. They are going to make the watches for the college football playoff teams. John, thank you so much for spending some time with me on the show, and good luck, and looking forward to seeing what the final designs look like for those 12 teams.
Thanks, Peter, and thanks for having me.
Awesome. John Canaris from Oxia Time. I'm going to throw my producer, Tony Walker, a little curveball here, and we're going to bypass our break because I know our next guest is already on the line. So I don't want to make him wait any longer. We're going to get right to him. He is the new radio voice of the New York Yankees on WFAN after spending 17 years as the TV voice of the Seattle Mariners. He was a talk show host on WFAN many years ago. And he is coming home to New York to be the new voice of the Yankees, replacing John Sterling. He is my friend Dave Sims, and Dave joins us here on the program. Dave, it's Peter. How are you?
Doing well, Peter. How are you, man? Good to see you.
It's good to see you too, and it's good to hear those dulcet tones of you. And very happy as a Yankee fan, as you can see, wearing a Yankee shirt today, that you are coming home to be the new radio voice of the Yankees. And I know you've talked about this on other platforms, but just for the show here, your excitement level about this opportunity and your chance to be the voice of the legendary New York Yankees.
Wow, I mean that last sentence you said put it all in perspective. No question about it. I mean, you're talking about one of the elite brands in the world, not just domestically, but coming home, working for the Yankees, working at WFAN, where that was let's see, I was at WNBC. And then when NBC got out of the radio business in '88, October, so then September '89, I go over to FAN, was there for a nice spell with Eddie Coleman and doing a lot of things over there. No, this is big. To be home and be able to do this and sign on with these guys is amazing.
Now, I don't want to sound like I'm demeaning the Seattle Mariners, because I'm not. Tremendous respect, and they've built a great franchise over there with that beautiful stadium. But I almost I look at you now, going from the Mariners to the Yankees, is kind of like, a player that goes from a team that doesn't win to all of a sudden a team, now he's on a team and a chance to compete for a championship. Do you kind of, again, I'm not trying to disparage the Mariners, but do you kind of feel like that player that goes from a team that's in last place, now all of a sudden you go from last place to first place and you got a chance to win a ring?
Well, this year the Mariners missed by a stinking game, missing the playoffs with arguably the best starting rotation in baseball. Made the playoffs for the first time 2 years ago in my I did 18 years on radio and TV. So, how do you not think about it? It's the Yankees, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's an opportunity that is, it's a dream of millions. And I got the call, and I'm forever thankful. And matter of fact, my sons and I do a podcast, the Hey Now podcast, and we just interviewed Susan Waldman, and we did an hour with her, and that's going to drop sometime next week. And we had a blast. So Susan and I are friends going way back to the early days at FAN. So this is going to be a blast. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Your thoughts on replacing John Sterling? And I know you've had a long-standing relationship with him, and he has been the Yankee radio announcer for such a long time, and you retired at the beginning of the season, came back for the playoffs. Your thoughts? Do you look at it as big shoes to fill, or how do you view replacing John Sterling?
The second time I've done this. I mean, I went into Seattle with Dave Niehaus at the back end of his career, and then I was working with and being around Dave for the 7, 8, 9, and 10 season before he passed. And I basically, took over, full-time TV for the next, I don't know, 5 years or so, and then they started alternating myself and Aaron Goldsmith radio and TV because they liked us both. So, hey, I'm just coming in and being me. I don't look at like, hey, I got to replace him. John does John, I do Dave. It's real simple. I'm not. There is nothing factoring in that says I have to do anything. And I say this respectfully and lovingly towards John. I'm not trying to, put the building blocks up the same way he did. I have my own way. It's worked. I mean, I've won state sportscaster of the year in Washington 3 consecutive years, and I'm up for the Ford Frick Award for the Hall of Fame this year. So I think I must be doing something right.
Oh, there's no question. You've done it for a long time. And by the way, good luck on the Ford Frick Award. We hope that you can bring it home and now bring it home to New York with the Yankees. Dave Sims, the new.
You know what's interesting, Pete? I got to interrupt you. You know what's interesting? It's me of the 10 guys. It's me, Gary Cohen, and John Sterling were 3 of the 10 guys.
Well, can they give out 3 of them? Because I obviously I like you. I like you and John and Gary as well. Would it be great if all 3 of you could win it?
Hey, we got a tie, everybody. It's a trifecta.
That's what we want. We want something different. We want Dave, we want John, we want Gary all up there in Cooperstown. Dave Sims, the new radio voice of the Yankees on WFAN, is my guest here on Sports Bash. So let's talk about this Yankee team that came so close to winning it all this year and get to the World Series against the Dodgers. They forget how to play defensive baseball in the 5th inning of Game 5, and that was the end of that. But they are a team that has a lot of talent. Now we'll see what happens with Juan Soto and the other changes they're going to make. But you look at this team that you're going to now be the voice of, and how do you view it? And I know it's early because we don't know that the whole roster is going to look at, but how do you view this organization and this roster that will obviously have a chance to compete for another championship?
Never lose the fact or discount the fact that they are defending American League champions.
Yes,
that's not too shabby.
No,
I wouldn't. Back in the old days, I used to say I'd trade a body part for that. No, that's not the case. But like I said, the Mariners finished a game out, and the last 2 months when things were really going well, actually they were 10 games up on June 19th, and I had a myriad of people, players, coaches, managers. We don't want to face you guys in the playoffs. All right. The Yankees are defending American League champions. There's not too much to grouse about.
No.
If they get Soto, fabulous. If they don't, I'm sure that opens up a whole lot of money to maybe get 2 or 3 other guys, maybe a pitcher, and a couple other players to go with the cats who are coming back. So this is not a woe is me situation by any stretch of the imagination. They are the New York Yankees, and I have faith in Cashman, and I've watched Cash over the years. He's not going to sit back. He wants to win a World Series as badly as anybody. I mean, since 09. But as a Yankee fan, if you feel badly about the fact that you haven't won a World Series since 09, the Mariners haven't even been to the freaking World Series. So put it all in perspective, all right?
Yeah, I am spoiled, Dave. There's no question in my life. Being a Yankee fan is the price I pay for being a Jets fan too. So like I had
man.
Yeah,
there's a penance for you.
Well, yeah, and I was I'm an Islanders fan, so at least I had the Stanley Cup run. But you know what? Like I'm a Yankee fan. They've given me a lot in my life. Then that's the reason, I guess, why I was made a Jets fan, is to balance it out a little bit.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You're going to call a lot of home runs hit by Aaron Judge this season, and there are certain players in each sport, as you know, that when that player is up or that player is on the court, that player is on the field, that player is on the ice, you have all your eyeballs on that particular player, and the Yankees have that player. Now they have, Juan Soto if he comes back as well, but for the most part, it's Aaron Judge, and all eyes are always on him because at any moment he can hit a ball 500 feet. How excited are you to call his at-bats in a Yankee uniform?
He's a great player. I've been lucky over these last 18 years. I mean, I've seen Trout on a regular basis. I've seen Felix Hernandez, Julio Rodriguez, Ohtani, Judge is the guy here in New York, and I'm excited. I talked to him a lot when they would come to Seattle. I talked to him, here in when the Mariners came here. Very nice young man, hell of a talent, should win the MVP. Um, I'm looking for him. Boy, I tell you what, he's going to be a focused young man coming into this next season. Uh, he did not dominate the way he would have liked, and certainly that drop ball in the fifth inning game was that game 4,
Game 5
or 5 rather. Um, he's got a lot to bounce back from, and it sounds strange when you're talking about a guy who's going to win the MVP.
Yeah.
So I look forward to working with him. He's a great guy. It's a good group of guys. I know that from the little bit I've been around him, and Susan, talking to Susan a lot, and she has a lot of good things to say about those guys. So I'm looking forward to the whole experience.
You brought up Susan Wallman at the beginning of the interview, and I wanted to save it till near the end to ask you about work. I know you, as I mentioned before with John, I mean, you and Susan have been friends for a long time, and now you get a chance to share the booth with her, the Yankees radio booth. And I know what the answer to the question is. I'm going to ask it anyway. But literally, how excited are you to work with Susan in the Yankee booth?
Well, that's in addition to coming back and working with the Yankees, being at home, and it's talk about trifecta. I get to work with Susan, and that's going to be fun. And we know each other, and the whole crew. I mean, Meredith Marakovitz on the TV side, Michael Kay and the fellas, and I know all those guys. So this isn't like when I went to Seattle. It was reminiscent of first day in grade school or first day in college. Hi, I'm Dave Sanders. Hey, nice to meet you. Hey, how are you? Like they know me, I know them. So the comfort level is pretty much established. And once we get down to spring training, do a couple of games, get some rhythm work in here. This is going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
If you don't mind me asking you a non-Yankees question, I had not seen you in a long time until a couple of years ago. I went with my kids to a St. John's game, and we just happened to be sitting courtside right behind the Fox Sports broadcast booth, and there you were doing the game. I know you do a lot of basketball. I'm going to ask you about St. John's specifically in this renaissance they've had now under Rick Pitino, and they're off to a very, very quick start. Your thoughts on St. John's and their chances of getting to the tournament this year?
Well, I have not seen St. John's. I have 2 games on the schedule coming up. I got Butler and Xavier, I think, in January. I know Rick when he was an assistant coach with the Knicks, and then he took over. And during that time, I was doing the Knicks pregame, halftime, and postgame on radio. So, we are quite familiar with each other, and I did a couple of his games last year. I've not seen some of the new talent that he's brought in this year. I hear good things. I hear the backcourt's really strong. We'll see. I mean, I've these early season blowouts. I love the games, but a lot of these games have been 30-point disasters.
Yeah.
But it's just nice to be back in New York and get into the basketball groove. And I look forward to seeing Rick and the boys. Last time I saw Rick in person was the game at Hofstra last year out of Belmont. That it was an interesting team. Wasn't a great team. And hopefully they can I know they had a good win against his son the other day on Sunday. So hopefully this will be a situation where he can get it going and they can really make some noise like the team did back in, 84, 85.
Mm-hmm. Well, before I let you go, Dave, I wanted to make sure I didn't forget to bring this up. People ask me all the time, like, how did you get into broadcasting? Why did you get into broadcasting? And there were, when I was younger, there were local broadcasters here in New York that I grew up listening to that you made a poignant impact on my life. But as I got older and really knew I was going to get into the business, you were one of the guys that I always listened to you on WNBC, and you were always so kind to me when I was a young broadcaster coming to games for the first time and getting a chance to meet you. So you played as much of a role as a lot of other people in shaping who I am today as a broadcaster. So I just want to thank you for that, and thank you for spending some time with me on my show today.
My pleasure, Pete. And you got to keep paying it forward, man. And I appreciate it very kindly of you to say that. And I'll see you at the Yard coming up in April, man. Absolutely.
Thank you, Dave. Dave Sims, the new radio voice of the New York Yankees. So a little bit late for the break. I have some more stuff to get to. We're going to take that break right now. When we come back, we're going to have our Sports Bash Media poll question of the day and get into some other stuff, including a very wild few days for me and my family that I'm going to get to when we come back right after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Hi.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,500 families, raising over $43 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $6,700 each, and your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 76 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
You're on.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. I'm Peter Schwartz, and again, we say thank you to my guests so far on the show, John Canaris from Oxia Time, and I was just recently joined by Dave Sims, the new radio voice of the Yankees on WFAN. This segment of Sports Bash is presented by TicketBash.com, where you'll never pay a service fee. Before I get to the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day and also some other business that I want to get to, Tony, I was joking before that Tony was chewing on a piece of chocolate, and he said, I have to, now listen, I made him drink the celery soda a couple of weeks ago, and he did not like it. I left my drink in the car, so if I don't like this, I'm going to be in trouble for the last 5 minutes of the show.
It's not going to happen.
Okay, well, this is called Bucci's.
Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's. Isn't that like a rest stop?
Yeah.
It's a rest stop, right?
Yeah.
They told me about this. Maybe it was, it might have been Wiz.
Okay.
They told me about this. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's like a glorified 7-Eleven almost. Yeah.
Buc-ee's Overbite, milk chocolate peanut butter. Now, I don't like peanut butter.
Oh, is that right?
Right, but I'm going to try this for you anyway, because you tried the celery anyway. So I'm going to at least take a bite out of it.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Wow, it doesn't like peanut butter.
Oh, it's good.
It is good.
I feel the peanut butter coming around a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot in there.
All right. Thank God there's a convenience store next door. I'll be able to get a drink.
Yeah, let me see if I can find one here, but I'm not
No, it's
sure.
okay. No, I'm
yeah,
good.
you sure?
I'm
okay.
good.
All right.
If my mouth blows up, it's another thing.
It'll go viral.
We'll go viral. Well, but that's good. I'm actually going to bring the rest of that into the car with me so that when I have my drink, and if I have to get a second drink, the convenience store is right next door, so I'll be good with that. So thank you. And that was really good. Wait, do they make other ones that don't have peanut butter in them?
They make a whole bunch of different types,
They do.
yes.
Okay,
yes.
good. The next time I'm there, if I'm ever there,
Sure.
Or if you're there, you bring one back for me without peanut butter in it.
Oh, you got it.
There you go. It is time for the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. Wow, really is peanut butter in there.
Sorry.
No, listen. I had it coming to me because I made you drink the celery.
I'm not trying to get revenge.
No, well, it seems that way. I don't know. I'm going to get that Schwartz guy back. He made me drink that disgusting celery. I want to make sure he's got that chocolate all over his hands. And well, whatever. It's time for the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, presented by Living Legends Memorabilia and Collectibles in Rockville Center, Long Island's go-to store for sports, entertainment, and political memorabilia since 1996. They're also available for charity auctions. Give Warren a call at 516-826-4000. Here we go. We post a new poll question every day on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. Here is today's question. How many teams should be in the college football playoff? And we give you 4 choices. The first one is what we have right now. First year, there are 12 teams in the college football playoff. But here are the other 3 choices, 16, 24, or 32. So your choices are 12, 16, 24, or 32. So go on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page and vote, and you'll find out the results tomorrow. Now, I want to close the show by taking care of some family business because it's been... The last 4 or 5 days have been just crazy in our house. Now, some of it is sports related, some of it not sports related. But I did feel the need or the urge to share some of that with everybody here on Sports Bash. Let's start last Thursday. Our official charity partner of the show is the Marty Lyons Foundation. And last Thursday at the Bourne Mansion was the Evening of Thanks Gala. They raised a lot of money for the foundation, which means a lot of wishes are going to be granted. So I just want to thank everybody at the Marty Lyons Foundation, from Marty Lyons on down, Kenny Zor, Crystal, Sandra, Eileen, the whole staff, for having me and my family as volunteers and having us at the event on Thursday. And this was, they showed a slideshow of everybody who was involved, celebrities, and quote unquote celebrity I am. They put up these slideshow things on the big screen there, and they did this that you're looking at right now on the screen. That's a picture, by the way, of me and Marty at the draft party. I MC the Marty Lyons Foundation draft party every year. And that was a gift that they gave me at the draft party last year. And so it was very nice of them to recognize me and some of the other people that were there as well. A lot of people at the event. And again, just wonderful how much money they raised and make some wishes come true for some kids who are going through a tough time. Families too. The wishes are not just for the kids. They're also for the families, whether it's a trip to Disney or a life experience that they really, really want. It's just a wonderful organization, and I couldn't be happier, more proud and privileged and honored to be a part of it. So thank you, Marty Lyons Foundation, for having me as part of it and having my family at the event. Then we move on to Friday. And Friday was a very lengthy drive to New Jersey for my cousin Dennis Katz's wedding. He marrying his girlfriend, now wife, girlfriend, fiance, wife. I never know how to exactly characterize. He married his... Let me just backtrack. My cousin Dennis Katz and his wife, Brittany, congratulations to both of you. I screwed that up so badly, and I didn't mean to, but let me start all over again. Congrats to my cousin Dennis Katz and his wife, Brittany, on their wedding this past Friday night in New Jersey, and there's a picture that I took with my cell phone of Dennis and Brittany with their first dance. So it was a fantastic wedding. The food was good. I didn't have peanut butter. However, the food was so good at this wedding.
It?
No, it really was, except for, and this is not that it was bad, but they served salad before the main course came out, and there was this thing on the salad plate, and it looked like a mozzarella stick. It looked like a mozzarella stick or some kind of potato pancake, and I took a bite of it, and my wife says to me, that's goat cheese.
Oh.
Thank you, Tony, for agreeing with me. Now, again, I'm sure as far as goat cheese was concerned, it was good for the people who like goat cheese. But I am telling you, I took a bite of this, and I had a glass of water and a glass of soda that I had gotten from the bar. I slung both of those down. I couldn't get the taste out of my mouth. They brought more water over. I went to get another drink. It took about 10 glasses of water, and then they brought the palate cleanser out in between the courses, and I finally left like a half an hour and 10 drinks, the palate cleanse. Goat cheese. Again, I'm not saying that it was bad because all the food was great, but the goat cheese, I didn't realize it was goat cheese. That did not agree with me, but it does not take away at all from how beautiful that wedding was. My cousin Dennis and his wife Brittany, many, many years of health and happiness, as hopefully at one point you guys will be able to grow your family like you plan on doing. So it was a wonderful, wonderful wedding. Now, I'm already 5 minutes over. I'm going to finish this up very quick. Saturday, my son Bradley and the WestCon Wolves finished their regular season with a 57-18 win over Castleton in the inaugural Sean Salisbury Classic. You remember last week we had head coach Joe Loth on the show to talk about Sean Salisbury was a coach for both teams, and they did this game in his honor, and WestCon wins, and there you see my son Bradley holding the trophy after the game. And good luck to WestCon this week, because while they did not make the Division III playoffs, they did get selected for an ECAC bowl game. They're going to host Alfred on Saturday, so good luck to Bradley and the Wolves on Saturday at the WAC in Danbury, Connecticut, and the Wolves heading to a bowl game this week. Now to Sunday. Congratulations to my son Jared. This year coached a first and second grade flag football team, and he helped LSU get to the Super Bowl. And there is the team. Coach Jared on the right, Coach Rob on the left, and just a tremendous group of kids who played so hard and had so much fun this year. Getting to the Super Bowl, came a little bit short of winning the championship, but what a great season. Thanks, Tony, for zooming in on Jared. Well done. Well, you've got this board thing down.
I faked my way pretty well through
there you
it.
go. So thank you for that. And congratulations to Jared and the rest of the LSU Tigers. And I close with this. On Sunday, also, after that football game, I attended the induction ceremony for the National Jewish Sports Hall of Fame class of 2025 at the Suffolk YJCC in Comac. Among the inductees, former Islanders and Rangers defenseman Matthew Schneider. There's a picture of me with Matthew after the ceremony, and I am excited to share the news that, and this is a tremendous honor, as both a sports fan and someone who works in the business, and as a proud member of the Jewish community, that I have been asked to be on the committee to select the class of 2025 for the National Jewish Sports Hall of Fame. So I am looking forward. Thank you, Jason Bartow, and everybody at the National Jewish Sports Hall of Fame for the interest and for asking me. I am honored, I am privileged, and I am looking forward to rolling up my sleeves and getting to work as we come up with the class of 2025. So I am very, very much looking forward to that. And that was the 4 and 5 day stretch that I had from Thursday through Sunday. Quite a lot compacted into a small amount of time. I got to get out of here. Reminder, next week, Sports Bash will air Monday at 3 p.m. and Wednesday at 1 p.m. because it's a little different week with the Thanksgiving holiday. Don't forget, next Wednesday's show, we'll be joined by Mike Del Judas from Billy Joel's band. Still working on the show for Monday. We'll keep you posted on that. That's coming up next week. We still have a big show this Thursday. We'll tell you about that on social media over the next couple of days, and that will do it for this edition of Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. Thanks to my guest, Oxia Time founder John Canaris, and the new voice of the Yankees on WFAN, Dave Sims. Thanks to Tony Walker and everyone here at Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown. Sports Bash is presented by TicketBash.com, Ryan Anthony's Heating Service. Sports Bash is also sponsored. By the way, it's also Ryan. I typoed. Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service. I don't want to upset Ryan Anthony. Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service. Sports Bash is also sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, by Bearcat Building Service, Living Legends Memorabilia, the Marty Lyons Foundation, and Collaborate Studios. For our entire crew, I'm Peter Schwartz saying thank you for watching and listening. Sports Bash returns this Thursday at 1 o'clock. Have a great day, everyone.